Which one's better? The Compass app on my phone or this basic compass? Let's do some tests and find out. The app I'm using is Compass 3.6.2 by SimplyWorks for Android. And I tried it out on the hill a few days ago, but the conditions weren't really very good for audio. So for greater clarity, I've redone the tests here at home in my backyard. First, how accurate and reliable are each of these? You need to calibrate the phone app first of all by moving the phone around, and it will tell you when it's got a reasonably high level of accuracy. For the test, I laid out a card aligned carefully to magnetic north using known landmarks and Ordnance Survey map data and compared the readings for each of them at the 4 main compass points. You can see the differences here. I got the same sort of result up in the hills. I would probably use the app on shorter legs than 1 kilometre and recalibrate at intervals during the day. Well, I've used one of these for many years. I found the level of accuracy is easily good enough for what you can achieve when you're actually walking on the hills, and very reliable, simple to use. If you get a good calibration, then the accuracy on the Compass app seems to be very good. I was a little concerned at the differences, though, between the readings on the app and the compass at certain points, and so I don't feel that I trust this quite as much as I trust this at this point. I think it's certainly good advice to recalibrate the phone app several times during the day, just to be sure that it's still reading accurately. In any case, it's always good practice to use as many other navigational clues as you can to confirm that you're in the right place and going in the right direction. Which is easier for setting a bearing from a map? Well, again, I found not a great difference between the two. You can use the phone in a pretty similar way to the way that I'd use the Baseplate Compass. It is a little bit more fiddly because you have to make sure that the map is properly aligned to magnetic north before you can then use the edge of the phone body to help you set a bearing. But then you can use the little target function on it to help fix the bearing that you've got. And then, as you can see here, I've got it set up on target already. You can see the white line where it shows you how much you're deviating from the course that you've set. The only thing you can't do with this, though, is you can't apply a correction for the magnetic declination. That's the difference between magnetic north and the north on your map. And that's something which you can do very easily using the dial on this type of compass. So that's where this has an advantage, I think, over the app. But that would be a good improvement for the developers of this app to make, and would certainly make it that bit more useful for actually using in the outdoors. I say a lot more about this in some of the videos in my online navigation course, and I'll put a link to that at the end of this video. With this kind of compass, it's also quite easy to take bearings on features in the landscape and then transfer that back to the map to help identify features and a range of other things. And again, I say more about that in my navigation course. So which one is more practical to use in the outdoors? This kind of compass is designed for use in the outdoors. It's unaffected by rain. You don't rely on network signals, on satellites, on any of those kind of technological issues. And I can use it at any time of day. There are little glow-in-the-dark spots on the key parts of the compass, and I can always use a torch with it as well. And a torch, of course, is a good thing to be carrying with you on hill in any case. The display is nice and bright, it's very clear, but on a bright sunny day I still find it very difficult to see the display on these things. And of course, the brighter you have it, the more the battery is being used up, so it shortens your battery life. Also, I found if there's any rain, if it gets onto the screen or your fingers are wet, then it's very difficult to operate the screen reliably. So that's another factor. And if it's going to be raining a lot, unless your phone is waterproof, you really need to put it in some kind of waterproof bag. Now this one's designed so that you can operate the touch screen through it, But it just adds to the cost, adds to the hassle. It's just another little factor which this doesn't suffer from. Also, these kind of compasses are quite robust. As long as you keep them away from any strong magnets like a phone, then they're pretty good. You can just chuck them in your pocket, somewhere in your rucksack. They're cheap and easy to replace as well. So in terms of practicality, I would go for one of these every time. If I was going to use a phone with a compass app or any other kind of navigation apps on a phone, I would still always carry a paper map and one of these compasses as a backup, because there's very little to go wrong with one of these. There's a lot to go wrong with these, and you're relying on a whole network of different technologies to be working all at the same time for this to be of any use at all. However, this doesn't take such good photographs, so maybe it's good to bring these as well. I hope you found that useful. If it has, please give it a thumbs up. Personally, I'm always going to keep on using one of these as my basic go-to compass along with a paper map, because there's very little to go wrong and it leaves me much more self-reliant, less dependent on a whole load of technologies. And being more self-reliant is a large part of what this channel's about. Safe journeys out there. See you soon.